Sheriff's there, so.
Good morning, everybody. Thank you so much for joining in, and sorry we were running just a little bit late, but we are thrilled to have Sheriff Leonard with us this morning and our surprise guest, the ladies of the Heart Program in the Chesterfield County Jail. So welcome, everybody, and thank you so much for joining. I had emailed as a member of the Richmond Overdose Task Force. I had emailed Sheriff Leonard last week about it, and in typical Sheriff Leonard fashion, he emails me back with a lot of concerns that he had. And so I said, you know what, this is something that we need to talk about with the community because it is affecting so many people. Let's go on Facebook Live. And he, of course, said, let's do it. And here we are. So just briefly, overdose rates drug use has significantly increased since COVID began. The cost of drugs has significantly increased the basics of supply and demand. And that means, unfortunately, overdoses has increased in the city of Richmond, Chesterfield, Henrico, and our whole metro region. And so that's really the basis of this conversation. But with that, Sheriff Leonard, thank you for joining us, and I will flip the floor over to you and ask you to share a little bit.
Well, thank you very much, and thank you for hosting this. And I do want to apologize to everybody for a little bit of late start. We did try to bring this live from the female HARP dorm. Unfortunately, we couldn't work out the technology, but they're there. They're watching and listening attentively. As this affects so many of them and so many of us. You know, COVID ushered in a lot of new things for us. All of our lives changed back in March when the onset came on. But one of the big things is COVID comes with a lot of anxiety. And anxiety for me, for my family, for my friends. It's anxiety for everybody in this nation. And as we know in the recovery community, anxiety is something that can often serve as a trigger. And when someone, trying to work that recovery and trying to do all the things that are right, and then you get COVID thrown in on top of that, that anxiety can really affect their work and what they're trying to do. Mm-hmm. So that was one aspect that really impacted, I think, our recovery world. But then you compound that with the fact that with all the restrictions of having meetings, what do people in recovery need to do? Stay in touch with people of like mind, like ideas. They go to meetings. When they leave here, they go to 90 meetings in 90 days. Those meetings are essential, especially when you're dealing with things like anxiety. So you have COVID toss on all this anxiety, and then you throw in the fact that all your meetings are now canceled. You can't do in-person meetings. And it's really compounded the issue. And here in Chesterfield, we saw a 52% increase in overdoses, 52%. And along with that, unfortunately, is the overdose deaths. 2 weekends ago in Chesterfield County alone, we had 4 deaths. All deaths are tragic. All deaths are unacceptable. But we've got to really pay attention to what's going on in our country right now with COVID. And we can't afford to let things such as recovery and the recovery community get lost in everything else that's going on. And it's not just COVID, it's the civil unrest, it's the elections. You got everything going on, and buried underneath all of that is the people in the recovery world trying to continue to fight for their sobriety and their lives. Mm-hmm. It's really been a challenging time at best. We went without any meetings here. We couldn't bring our facilitators in for probably the first 3 months. And then we went to the virtual type of facilitation, which was okay, but it doesn't have that same connection when you're there in person. Mm-hmm. And about a month or so ago, we reopened our jail to the outside facilitators, realizing there's a risk that comes with that, but the benefit outweighs the risk. We need to continue with our work in recovery, and we wanted to make sure that everybody who needed a facilitator, needed those meetings, had access to them.
Mm-hmm. That's incredible. I've said so many times, Sheriff, I wish we had more like you that not only do it, but do it out of a true, genuine sincerity. I think that's what sets you apart, is that you just are so genuine and sincere in you doing this and really thinking outside of the box. So I don't know, did you have set up for any of your ladies to share any of their experiences? I don't know if they have a microphone in there.
I don't believe we're able to get the microphone in there.
Okay. Okay, that is no problem.
It's on my cell phone, so they should be able
to
talk.
Okay. Then please, yes, we have the ability. And
Okay.
if there's any ladies that would like to tell their story about how this COVID is affecting everything, and please take the opportunity now.
All right, who wants to share a story?
Does anybody?
Come on, Shay.
I see Allison in the front row.
Yeah.
All right, my name's Shay and I'm an addict. So I've been in this program a few times and I've got to experience.
Get closer with the phone so we can hear.
Can I hold it?
Yeah.
Okay. Hi, y'all. My name's Shay. I'm an addict.
Shay.
Sorry, it's weird. Okay. So I've been in this program a few times, and I've seen how it works when everything is active and how the COVID has affected it. And usually we have a lot of classes and the facilitators coming in from the outside and experiencing and showing us their strength and hope, because it's really, what's the word? It's really exciting to see people that have been in this program that can come in from the outside coming in, and it shows us that it really works, and that affecting us from the COVID has been affecting it because they haven't been able to come in. So we have been setting up Zoom so they can come in. A lot of classes have been postponed as well. This program is a great program, and it has changed my life in many ways and has given me multiple chances at this recovery process. I'm a little nervous, but yeah, so the COVID has really affected it in ways where we can't get certain classes yet. They're trying their best to re-upload them as well. And they're doing the best they can to get us on Zoom and everything that they can to make sure we have a great recovery process. Thanks for letting me share.
Thanks for sharing.
Thanks, Shay.
And I want everybody to know, Shay just celebrated her 21st birthday.
Yay, happy birthday. Happy birthday. I don't know if you saw Jill's comment pop up, but she says she misses visiting you all. I know that she does. But yeah, so, in the community, even within some of the recovery organizations, and then within, people that are not, the overdoses are significantly increasing as well. And that's tough. And as the sheriff said, it is definitely something that a lot of people are not thinking about and not talking about. I think some on purpose and some just because often it's just a forgotten thought, which is absolutely terrible. But an even bigger concern of mine is this virtual schooling, and not to get in a debate about whether we should go or we shouldn't go. That's not what it's about. But parents have to work most often, and kids left unsupervised often is a really bad situation. And so my fear, a lot of parents don't think, especially in these middle class suburban areas, they think this is not going to happen to my family. This is not my area, things like that. And being left unsupervised is going to even escalate that even more. And so, ladies, what would you all say to that as far as your thoughts as I just said?
I'm Allie. I'm in recovery.
Allie.
So with everything being on Zoom meetings and shutting down, I feel like it takes away from like the most important component of it, and this is the human connection. And be able to interact with people in a healthy way. And like a lot of us in addiction don't have that with like family members, or being connected in healthy relationships and being able to relate to each other and physically see you and look at you doing well and hug you and get that emotional and physical support that we need from one another, especially those that have been through this and have made the best of their situation and taken advantage of everything that they've been given with this program. And that peer-to-peer is like what is the most important to me, because that's what helped me to see that I could do it too. So I think that it takes away from a lot of it. And it's really devastating, but we're still being strong, and we're still moving forward, and we're not going to give up.
Yeah,
So
absolutely.
thanks for letting me share.
Thanks for sharing.
So, Sheriff, what additional thoughts do you have?
Well, I mean, again, we talk about challenging times. We're really proud of the record we've had for keeping COVID out of our jail.
Mhm.
For the first 3 or 4 months, we had 0 cases. And then for a week there, we had about 20 cases in our entire jail. We took care of that, and then we've had 0 for the last 2.5 months. But that doesn't come without a cost, and that cost is, as you may know, and many people may not know, our jail is open 24 hours a day to any person struggling with addiction. You come to our jail, ring the front doorbell. We're going to get you into our jail without criminal charges and let you be with other people in recovery and help you get through the struggle you're doing. We've always had an open door policy. There are a lack of resources in our county. And without those resources available, when somebody needs help, where do they go? We've created a culture in Chesterfield County where you go to the jail and ask for help, and we get you that help. But with COVID, we've had to close that down. We can't let people come in off the street, and possibly bring COVID in, just like facilitators. So we really had to stop the in and out flow of people if we want to get back. I will tell you, I'm getting calls every day from people on the outside struggling, begging me to come into the jail to talk to somebody, and we want to get them that help. But right now, with the risk of COVID, it's just really hampering us, and it is a challenging time for everybody.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely, absolutely. And I see you have more special guest, Sheriff, with the Men of the Heart program. So hello, guys. I don't know if you can hear us. Awesome. So I think the overall message is for anybody in recovery, whether you're educated or not. This is an incredibly difficult time, and if you don't figure out how to deal with your recovery and focus on your recovery, unfortunately, the outcome is probably not going to be great. And we have seen that huge rise in overdoses in this whole Metro Richmond area, and I would venture to say even outside of that, all over. And then the potential of others experimenting and using and becoming hooked on those substances due to the lack of connection that Allie referenced, the stress that comes along with everything that we have going on, and then the fact that there's going to be so many kids at home with virtual school, many of them left unsupervised. And so it's just an incredibly critical time for folks, because I don't think anybody picks up and says, this is my last time I'm going to die. I think it's completely the opposite, thinking that'll never happen to me. And unfortunately, we know that that's not the case for many, because we've had to say bye and bury many, many people since COVID began, even more so than regular. With that, men, I don't know, are you all able to talk? Is there a microphone, or are you just able to listen right now?
Is anybody from the men's pod, or can you talk about how COVID has changed your path to recovery?
Kyle and that.
Step up to the mic, please. And while he's walking up, I saw Sheriff C.T. Woody make a comment, and I got to say, if it wasn't for C.T. Woody and his advanced thinking, real life program probably wouldn't exist, and HARP would not exist. So, C.T. Woody, thank you, brother, for all you've done for the community.
Absolutely. You'll have to join us next time, Sheriff Woody.
All right, back in last year, I was living a really bad life with girls and drugs and all this nonsense. And back in March, me and my girlfriend decided to leave North Carolina, go back up to Connecticut, where I'm from. And we were, we saved up, bought a car, we left the bad area we were in, and we're gonna go back and, get jobs and, start living a productive life. And just a lot of stuff happened. And, back in March, we were on our way and our car broke down in Delaware, and then we were stuck in Philly, and by the time we got to New York, there was a travel ban on all kinds of stuff, and we get to Connecticut, and we can't find work anywhere because everything's closed. The casinos are closed, all the restaurants are closed, a lot of the construction companies that I work for, they didn't have any work going on, and we had nowhere to go. We were living in a tent, and a lot of my family members have, compromised immune systems. A couple of my aunts have breast cancer. My mom's sick, and they didn't want to be around any of us because, we're, traveling up and down the East Coast on buses and stuff. And we got discouraged, and all we could do was sell drugs and get high. And as things started getting better, and then I got in trouble, and I ended up here and heard about the heart program. So I decided to, make the best of a bad situation and try to get better for when I get out. But the whole thing of not being able to find work and, not having a place to live, it just kind of put a damper on things.
Yeah.
Thanks for that.
Thank you for sharing that. And, 2 things that I want to make on what you said. The first is when you get out, right? And a lot of times, I think before you got on, I had talked about how often you all, recovery, addiction, people who use drugs are not talked about because right now you're behind bars. But what people don't think about is the majority of people incarcerated in America, 95% are getting out, right? And you're in our communities, your mothers, your fathers, your aunts, your uncles, all of that volunteering at the schools. And so we have an obligation as a society to provide the tools to do something different. And if we don't, we are crazy to think that we're going to get a different outcome. And so I think, for those naysayers out there, so to speak, that is something critical to remember. And as Sheriff Leonard and Sheriff Woody and myself have said before, all of us have made mistakes. All of us have done things. Truly, the difference between you all and us is that you got caught and we didn't. And who are we to judge who has done better things or worse things, right? And so, we are all a part of the human race, and that's critical to remember. The piece on jobs that I want to tell you all about, jobs are hard to come by, but I am telling you right now, the amount of open jobs right now are on the rise. We have more jobs available than we have people to put in. So that is really good news. Do not let the unemployment rates and things like that scare you. There are opportunities for employment making over $12 an hour when you all get out. So please use that as an encouragement and know that there are things out there. Sheriff, you want to?
Yes. So we're talking about this whole COVID pandemic and how it's affecting this whole community. One of the things we work really hard to do here in Chesterfield in our community is to break the stigma that comes with being an addict. And we've done tremendous work in breaking that stigma down. But we do that by taking our folks into the community almost every day, whether it's civic groups, community groups, churches, schools. We take them everywhere so they can tell their stories, and people can actually see who and what an addict is or somebody in recovery is. But that has also come to an end with COVID because schools aren't in session, civic groups, community groups, even churches aren't holding sessions. So we haven't been able to get our folks into the community to tell those stories of recovery and of self-worth and value. There's a lot that we've got to overcome with this COVID pandemic, and we got to keep working towards breaking down the stigma. Things like this, like these Facebook Lives, which again, I really appreciate you doing, really help to go a long way in breaking the stigma down and letting people understand really what addiction is all about and who these people are, and the fact that they do have a lot of worth, self-worth and worth to our communities. And there is employment opportunities that are going to be out there waiting for them.
Absolutely. And Ashley Perkinson commented, fellow heart participant here, there are jobs hiring and there are meetings being held in person outside with social distancing. So I'm sure you ladies love to hear from Ashley. I know that you all have a bittersweet when you see your sisters or brothers from the program leave. It sounds like Ashley is doing well and she is live with us today. So with that said, we are about to wrap up, but are there any Heart members that have some final thoughts or comments that they want to share?
I'd like to see if Victoria would like to share her story.
Victoria, spotlight is on you, lady.
You gotta come up, girl.
Come on up, Victoria. I don't mean to put you on the spot, Victoria, but your story means a lot, says a lot.
All right, so hey, I'm Victoria. I'm in recovery. Victoria. Okay, so a little bit about me. I have been using drugs on and off for about 12 years. I've been in and out of jail, in and out of prison. I've done recovery houses, rehabs, you name it, I've done it and failed at everything. I've tried to do drug programs in other jails. I tried to do it in prison. Nothing works. I get out, I relapse. I've never really even had the desire to stay clean. I've never wanted to. I've never thought I could. But something different happened with me this time. I got arrested and I was happy. Actually got arrested in Henrico, but I was lucky enough to get a PR bond and come here, and that was March 10th of this year. So downstairs was a deputy who said that she would help me get into Heart. And where I come from in other jails, they don't do what they say they're going to do. So I just sort of blew it off. And I knew that there's like a waiting list to get into the program. So I thought I had to go to Riverside and sit there forever and wait. But I believed in this program before I got here because I know people who have came through this program and are still clean today. People I was at my bottom with, people I used with, people that I went to jail with. We get out, we relapse together, and the cycle just keeps going. But something happened with them when they were here in this program. Like, I had love for this program before I even walked into this jail. So my heart was set on coming to Heart before I even got here. So I got back from court on March 10th, and Deputy Nance actually got me up here. When I got back from court, she said that she had talked to somebody and they were going to get me upstairs, and I just started hysterically crying because, like, I just felt like this was my last chance. 2 days later, they actually shut everything down in the jail and they stopped letting people come in. I was like one of the last people that was able to get up to Heart. I still call that deputy to this day my angel, because without her, I don't feel like I would be up here. So this program has helped me believe in myself. This program has helped me love myself. Today, I want to live. Like, before I got to this program, I not only accepted the fact that I was going to die from an overdose, but I welcomed it. Like, that's how I wanted to go, and I was okay with that. I stayed in this program because of the women in this program, because of the sheriff, because of Deputy Peoples and Sergeant Smith. I believe in myself today. On the 13th of this month, I went to court for Henrico. I've done all my time for Chesterfield, and my lawyer and the Commonwealth agreed on time served for me. So I could have went home August 13th, but something happened that day. My higher power, whom I choose to call God, works in mysterious ways in my life. And I didn't have court until 1:30, but they took me to booking at 6 o'clock in the morning that day by accident. And I was down there, and a guy came into booking, and he was getting booked in. He was high, and I was just watching him, and I was like, well, you know, I'm going to get out today, and that's going to be me. And I had all these reasons why, like, I had nowhere to go. I was blaming people. I had my mind set on, well, I'm going to go get high because I have nowhere to go. So I'm just going to go back to the motel, and, you know, came up with all these excuses and reasons why I should just go get high. I only have 3 years over my head. They'll probably let me back in Heart. Like, I can do this. It'll be fine, right? So I had made up my mind, and I closed my eyes and I just laid there, and I started talking to God, like, okay, like, help me figure this out. What do I do? And my door popped, and I opened my eyes, and there's the sheriff. And I was like, oh my gosh. And he was like, what are you doing? And I was like, I'm going to go to court for Henrico. And he's like, you can get out? And I was like, yeah. And he asked me if I was ready. And then me and the sheriff aren't close by any means, but I look to him as a father figure. I've never known my dad my whole life, and he's the closest thing I've ever had to a father. And he asked if I was ready, and I couldn't look him in his eyes and lie to him. So I said no. He said something that changed my life. He told me that I did not have to leave if I didn't want to. I could tell my lawyer, I could tell the Commonwealth and the judge, I could speak for myself and tell them that I was not ready to leave. And that's all it took. He left me with that, and instantly, without even thinking about it, I made up my mind that I was going to ask for 9 months to a year. And I laid back down, and then they woke me up and said, we accidentally brought you down too early. We're going to take you back upstairs. And I was like, God, that's not God. Like, I don't know who it is. And I came upstairs and I talked to my program deputy, Ms. Fields, and, you know, they're like, call your lawyer right now before you go to court and tell them. I didn't even think I was going to go to court that day because it's in Henrico and COVID's really rapid in that jail. So they transported me in a car, and where I was getting high at was literally 5 minutes from the Henrico jail. I was in the backseat of a car. I wasn't in a van, so I got to see outside everywhere I used to get high, where I used to run and everything. So I was being triggered all over the place, and my mind kept going back and forth. But like, I walked into that courtroom, and it was just the Commonwealth and the judge, or the Commonwealth and my lawyer, and they told me then that they agreed on time served, and I was like, well, you guys are gonna think I'm crazy, but I'm not ready to leave. Like, if I leave today, I'm gonna get high. Like, I am just starting to learn how to love myself, and that's the biggest part for me, because I want to love myself enough to not want to get high for me. And I'm just starting to be able to do that because of the program, and Deputy Seals and Sergeant Smith and the sheriff and all these ladies behind me that support me. I would not be where I'm at today without this program. So that's what I did. And my lawyer asked for 9 months to a year so that I could complete the program. Everything's been on hold because of COVID. I didn't even be able to begin to take the classes that I need to graduate. And there's so much I want to do in this program. And I want to live today because of this program, and I'm just not ready to leave. So I'm still here. Thanks for your share.
Thanks for sharing. That is powerful. We are getting comments coming in left and right. Of course, thank you for sharing your stories. So, thank you for opening up and being so vulnerable. And, you know, I think that what people get out of programs, whether it's HARP or Real Life or one of the other great ones out there, are not necessarily material things that they appreciate the most, but it's things like what you said, Victoria, of loving yourself and appreciating and developing an esteem and things of that nature. And folks just don't think of that when they think of programs that you're going to get them a job and they're going to get their license place to live. And sure, that comes with time, but without all of those other things that you reference, what's a car or a house for just a little bit? It's just like a little Band-Aid, as Sheriff Woody would say. But at any rate, thank you so much for sharing your story. And it's great to see a smile on your face because I've definitely seen you on the other side of things. And so I'm so excited to see you and see your progress.
Thank you so much.
Yes, absolutely. Sheriff, was there any men that you wanted to put on the spot to wrap us on up?
Not to shortchange the men, they're welcome to talk, but following Miss Victoria is going to be hard to do.
This is very true.
The guys are doing a great job inside and out, and really working hard, and appreciate all the work they're doing too. You know, it's there's a lot to be said about the recovery community in the country, and all the hard work everybody's doing day in and day out.
Mm-hmm.
And fortunately for programs like HARP and for Real Life and the many other programs out there, you know, they do have some place to go, but we need a lot more places for them to go.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. We're doing what we can, but there are not enough. And I mean, us alone, we are opening 2 new houses this month. So even in the midst of COVID, we opened another house for men on August 1st. And we're opening another house for women tomorrow because the need for housing is it's absolutely skyrocketing. But with that and all of the other wonderful programs out there, there's, like you said, there is not enough.
And I got one person introduced to you. This is Bailey Hilliard, and she's our new programs manager.
Oh, hi.
And Monday was her first day, and here she is doing Facebook Live on her 3rd day at work.
Oh my goodness. Well, he is throwing you into the fire, huh?
And she's going to reach out to you, Sarah, and hook up with you.
Awesome. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, everybody.
Good to meet you. Sheriff, we did get one more question in, and I could answer, but I think it would probably be more appropriate for you to answer. And the question is, how is HARP effective?
Well, wow. There's not one size fits all with a program, and our program encompasses a lot.
Mhm.
Stick with you, may stick with somebody else. It's a really difficult answer, but I think in broader terms, we don't focus on drugs. We don't focus on addiction. We focus on one underlying trauma that causes you the pain or the void that you feel you need to have drugs for.
Mhm.
And we also focus on your behavior. As the men and women tell me all the time, drugs is 10% of the problem. Behavior is 90%. So, we're learning how to deal with a lot of the things that they face. Coping skills, fatherhood skills, motherhood skills, life skills in general. I think it's a combination of changing behavior, of finding that underlying trauma, and then finding the tools to address that pain. And then really just focusing on, when you have those triggers, what are the other options you have other than using drugs? We call it left turn, right turn. And Sarah, you opened up today by saying we've all made mistakes. I've always said there's only one difference between everybody in a jail and everybody out of the jail, and that's one decision. One decision. And that's our whole premise: left turn, right turn. You've left turns all your life that have got you into trouble, got you into jail. We're trying to teach you the life skills so you can start making the right turns.
Mm-hmm.
The turns, the decisions, the choices that will lead you to have that productive, happy life the rest of your life. That's a broader answer to the question. I wish we knew the key. I think the key is we give them an ounce of hope. They've never had hope in their life, but they take that ounce of hope and it builds and it builds and it builds. And they realize that, one, they have value in our community, which we believe. They have self-worth and they're worth living.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Absolutely. Well, thank you. Thank you for sharing that. So with that, we have hit our 30 minutes, and I know everybody is incredibly busy, so we are going to go ahead and wrap up. But thank you, Facebook world, for logging in and listening to this important conversation. Please do not let this fall on deaf ears. We need everybody to talk about this, everybody to be a part of this solution, to help end the stigma. We had Tiffany just pop up asking what we can do to help. That is a wonderful way to end things. There are plenty of ways to get involved. I know that HARP program is always looking for donations of various things. We can post that on Facebook later. Real program, the same thing. We have welcome home kits that we make for folks moving into the program, as well as starter food packs for folks moving into our houses. Jill Chickowitz, who many of you know, absolutely incredible, does a million different things. One of her focuses right now is giving out food in Chesterfield County once a week for folks who've been hit hard by COVID. And I know that every week Jill is looking for folks to help hand out and distribute the food. So there are a number of ways. If you are interested in anything that I have said or just learning more, you are welcome to comment on this thread or message us on Facebook, or give us a call, 804-322-3311. And we are happy to share all of this information of how you can get involved with us, HARP, or any of the others that I have named off. So with that, I hope you all have an absolutely wonderful day. HARP men and women, it was great to see you. So wonderful to see so many familiar faces, and look forward to seeing you all on the outside when you get out. And Sheriff Leonard, as always, it has been a pleasure to work with you over the years and to have you on this morning.
Thank you.
All right. You all have a great one. Thank you so much. Bye-bye.